Hey, Ollie here. So in the last video, we went over how to pull in context for customer support into Claude. So past email threads, docs, websites, all searched semantically. So without just limited to keywords, actually searching the topic matter. Now that got me thinking, and the last couple of days I've spent putting together a Claude Cowork plugin. It also works with Claude Code, but Claude Cowork predominantly, called email triage. Now, what this plugin does is it connects into your Claude Cowork. You'll choose you'll link up your email account, email or Zoho, what we support currently, and then it will pull in all of the unread emails from the last 24 hours, skipping spam or kind of automated notifications. And then what it will do is pull in context on those emails, so each one of them. And it will also pull in a kind of guideline of lessons from previous email triaging. And then it'll actually draft an email to each of them. Then it will show you emails in a collapsible card system directly in Claude Cowork, by the way. And then with a kind of copy and paste. And then last of all, which is one of the important bits, is you'll paste in to Claude Cowork any changes you make, or the way I use it is I just copy and paste the actual replies I send through to customers. Because if you're anything like us, you may have emails that cover tricky topics or technical things, and you just want to tweak the language here or there, or maybe something is actually wrong and you want to change it. And that's where the second part of this comes in, is this plugin will actually learn over time. So it will save back to a shared document. And I think right now we only have 6 or 7 learnings. But I'll go through setting this up and I'll show you. But the objective of it is to have this Cowork plugin run every morning before you jump online. Pull in exactly the right context from past email threads, your documentation websites, any FAQs, anything really you connect, and then draft out responses for you that you can tweak or use verbatim or ignore, and hopefully speed up your support inbox by quite a bit. Now, I want to try and make this work with not just Context Link, because that's a paid product. It starts at $9 a month, but you can also use just Claude, and it won't be quite as good, but Claude's got a memory now, and it won't save on demand, but it's better than nothing, and it can also try and pull in context from your website or any other connectors you have to Claude. So we recommend using Context Link, but yeah, you can use this plugin without it. So great, the way you get started is you just go to Claude Cowork, and if you go to, let me open this up a bit, Customize, and then you can go to Add Plugin, Browse Plugins, Personal, Add Marketplace, and just copy this in and click Sync. What that'll give you is this, email triage, and there'll be a little plus icon there which you can click, and that'll mean it'll turn onto your account. What does it actually contain? So it has, first kind of port of call is pulling in your email, so it'll use the Gmail Claude connector, and if you don't have that set up, it will prompt you to do. We actually use Zoho. And if that's what you select when setting it up, because the little wizard will pop up with the options, if you select Zoho, you'll just have to click for a link and set a little Zoho MCP connector up. That sounds trickier than it is. It's quite straightforward, and it will guide you through it. And once you've got that, there's 2 ways you can use the plugin. So you can use draft email response, and by that you just type /draft email response and then copy and pasting the email you want to reply to. Or the way I use it is triage email, and that's where it'll actually pull in all of your email. It'll get context, draft replies, and then try and prompt some learning afterwards. So for example, we mainly have set up our support email and our docs website. So earlier this morning when this flow triggered, a couple of different prompts came in. So this one is just purely email based. So you can see these past email threads were pulled into Claude to give it background knowledge before it answered the draft. Whereas some of these other ones, it reached into some of our other connections. Notion, even though Notion weighted down when we're doing customer support, you can see that was used here. It had something that was still knowledgeable. And then I'll show you what our learnings document looks like currently. So at the end of each flow, the start of each flow, this will get pulled in before drafting, and at the end of each flow, Claude will ask you, is there anything you change from these drafts, or can you copy and paste the drafts you did use in? So hopefully over time you build up these lessons and the kind of opuses on Claude to generate lessons from the changes you made. So what have we got? Yeah, I always just sign off cheers or thanks solid, depending on the kind of context of the email. In our company, we try and request store access quite a bit and actually fix things for people as opposed to instructing them over email. It's just a personal preference, but that's something that's picked up and saved here. Pricing link, when we're saying, oh, yeah, just go to our site to look at pricing. And then we've got two more technical things, which are to do with our specific business. And then tone, just, acknowledge the customer when you learn something so we can come off annoying or anything like that. And keep sign off simple. Cool. Those are the two big things, the two big ways that email triage gets context. It does a couple other things as well. It will scrub the generated email afterwards. And I should mention you can change all of these, so you can click edit if our opinions don't quite line up with the way you do your email support. And here we're just removing things like the M dashes that AIs love. We're getting rid of some of the overly enthusiastic stuff. There's quite a few other little tweaks, so you can add to this over time, but that's the way we have it set up. And then these other two skills are just to do with context links, so you don't really need to worry about those, but if you use context link, they'll get used. If you don't, they won't. So that's how you set up the plugin and how it works. Now, the way we have it set up the way I have it set up in my setup is in scheduled. And I've got this going every day at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not usually up by 6:30, so what actually happens is I open my computer around 7ish, it sees that was an overdue scheduled task, and then it runs this email triage while I'm getting ready for work. And then I can just hop on, and what I usually do is let me get this up. I usually have this open on one side and my Apple email client in the other. And then I'll just copy each one into the mail and send them. And for me personally, it's a lot easier than having to generate an email from scratch every time, whilst also using quite a clever system that understands the business and prior art in terms of our responses. So yeah, hopefully that is helpful. There's a bit more about it, but the main flow really is just this 1 to 5 down here, and you can tweak all of these skills in Cowork to get it to the way that you answer customer support. Cheers.